Welcome back. Yes, students, now I am going to discuss the last part that has been left in a first module, which is functions. And recall that I had already discussed functions. Why do we write? What is the need? What are the advantages? All those things. And even so we have discussed some built-in functions also. So a little bit I'll brush up very fast. Okay, so in the context of programming, a function is a named sequence of statements that performs a computation. Okay, means if at all we are going to use a particular action again and again in a program, all such actions means the statements doing that action should be given a named name, and that name we are going to use whenever we want to do that action. Okay, calling that particular sequence, that's what named sequence of statements that performs a computation is called function. When we define a function, we specify the name and the sequence of statements. Later we can call the function by name. We all already seen an example of a function call, like say for example we have seen a function called a type, which is going to tell the type of a variable that will be there within parenthesis. The name of the function is type. The expression in the parenthesis is called argument of the function. Remember, whatever we write in a function call is called as argument. Oftenly the students will confuse between parameters and argument. There is a difference. Argument is a variable or a value that has been written inside the function call, whereas a parameter is a variable which is there in a function definition. Little later we'll see that. The function the argument is a value or a variable that we are passing into a function as an input to the function. The result of the result for the type of function is the type of the argument. It is common to say that function takes argument and returns the result. The result is called a return value. Obviously the when we call argument as the input, and the result is called a return value. Built-in functions, we have seen max function which will going to return a maximum character inside the string, and similarly a min function will going to return the minimum character inside the string. Here max and minimum character is with respect to the ASCII value of a string. Okay, and even we have seen a len function which will going to return the number of characters inside the string, means nothing but a length of the string. And we have seen some more type conversion functions like int, which will convert a string to a integer. Not just the string, this function takes any value and converts to an integer if it can, or complains otherwise. Like say for example, say 32 it can convert to an integer, whereas hello it cannot convert to an integer because it has given an error. Whereas say if you see here, say int 3.99, it that has been converted to integer, means everything after the decimal point has been ignored and only the integer part will be given. See in both the examples here. And similarly that float function we have seen, even the string function also we have seen. Just you go through these things again. And with respect to math functions, there are so many math functions, and when I was telling, I told that to use any of the functions of the math functions we are supposed to import it. This is as good as you are going to include include stdio.h, the pre-processing directory, include directory. Similarly here, before you are going to use the math functions, you are supposed to import it using a statement import math. And say with this what I do, say I'm going to extend this to how do we to a concept of defining a function. So we'll see directly in a terminal how do we define a function. Okay, so what I do, I'm going to open a file and I'll write one simple function and call that function in a program. So I'll call the name of the Python script as a like fun.py, means function.py. Okay, here this particular this is a program to demonstrate function definition means how to define a function, function definition, and function call, how to call that function call, right? Say here first we can define a function by using a word called a def, and name of the function, let me call the name of the function as something like sample fun is the name of the function, okay, which is going to later after the function name there should be colon, and after the colon in all the statements below it should be indented properly. Okay, here I'll just type a simple statement, print this line has been printed inside the function, right? Okay, that's it. So I'll end the function. See, ending a function, there is nothing like opening a brace or closing a brace, indentation as usual. So you break the indentation, that's the end of the function. Now I'll call this. So before that, print, I'll just use a statement, one simple statement. This program demonstrate function usage, just a very simple thing. Okay, and now see, this particular statement is not part of a function, and say here I am going to call the function, the name of the function is sample underscore fun. Okay, and so later I'll write one more statement, print end of the program, right? So now, so if you see here, remember one thing, always see we have defined the function at the beginning, okay, the program, but remember the program execution will start from this particular, it will skip all the functions, even though the functions appears in the beginning, it will skip all the function definition, and the program execution will starts after any function definition. Like here, say the program execution will start with this particular statement. First it will going to this line, and later it will call the function. Remember, we have not supplied any arguments here. Okay, this is the function without any argument. Now when this is the way we call the function, okay, say once we call the function, the execution will go to the function body, okay, where we have defined the function, and there whatever the statements are there inside the function body will be printed. Okay, here in this example there is only one function, this function will be there is only one statement, this statement will be executed. At the end of this statement, automatically the function will return, and it will the execution will start with the next statement after the function call. Okay, the next statement is print end of the program, means once we execute this program we should get this line first, later this, and later this. Okay, let's see how we can execute this. So simple thing to execute, command is python 3 because we are going to use a python 3 interpreter, then fun.py, right? So enter. Look at this, as I told, this program demonstrates function usage, this is part of main body of the program, and this is a part of the function, and once again this is the program, main program. Okay, so this is a very simple demonstration of how can we define a function. Now instead of supplying this line, I want to supply means instead of printing this line inside the main function, I want to supply that line as a part of this function. What I do, say here, say whatever is there here, I'll just cut it and paste it here. Okay, right. So let me cut everything this, okay, and paste it here. Right, so this is what I am supplying as a argument of the function, and that I am going to see here, take here. Remember, the line is a parameter, and whatever we are supplying inside the function call is it is an argument. Now here inside the print I'll just type line. Okay, very simple thing. Now let's see what is the output of this program. Say the change here is I am supplying a string here, okay, and that string will be read, means this string will be input to this function, so that it is something like a line is equal to this string. That action will takes place, and later whatever is there in a line will be printed here. Okay, let me execute this program once again. Look at this. Okay, so the same output, but here instead of printing the line here itself, we have supplied that line as a string. Okay, and this is one example where we have passed one argument to the function. Means there is earlier we have seen a function without any parameters. Now this is a function with one parameter. There can be even more than one parameter. Let us consider, say, I'll write this something like this, like some number, right? And this is line. Here, say what I do, I'll read the number even from the user, like n is equal to whatever the number is there, I'll convert that to integer. Okay, int. Okay, so enter an integer, say integer. So user will enter an integer, and okay, say, but it should be a part of input function. Sorry, input right, and whatever the user will enter, that will be converted to int. And now this I am going to supply as a first argument of the function call. Okay, and here I'll print, see, even this can be written something like this, %d colon %s double quote, and say here %1 is a num, comma, another one is line. Okay, this we have seen how to print. Okay, let's see. Means first we are going to print this number, and before that, afterwards, this line. Okay, let's see. Okay, enter an integer. Means this particular line is a part of main function, means a main program. This enter an integer is also part of main program. I'll enter integer like 25, enter. Look at this, 25. This is the line that has been printed inside the function and end of the program, right? So now if you see, this is the function, one example of an function, of a function which has two parameters, right? So we can have even many parameters in the same line. Okay, and here I want to tell two terminologies. So one is fruitful function and another one is void function. If the function will not return anything, okay, this function has not returned anything, it just printed something here. Okay, this function means, so far whatever the function I have typed, all these functions are example for void functions, because these functions have not returned anything. Okay, so but see, you may say that, sir, it has printed something here. This is a body of, means this is just a print function, it has not returned this statement to this means to the called function, means to the main body of the function. Okay, what we do, we'll take we'll see one example of a fruitful function. Fruitful functions are those functions which will return some value to the which will return some value back. Okay, so wherever we call, like say for example, the same I'll take one more I'll write one more function, means file program, like something like program fruitful function dot py. Okay, fruitful function dot py is the name of the program. Okay, this program will demonstrate fruitful function. Alright, so now, okay, in short I have written, hope you will understand that. Okay, here say, let me write the definition of the program, def. Okay, anything can be name of the programs. I'll write fruitful function, and even let's consider maybe I'll write a function called addition, and num1 comma num2 are two variables, and here I'm going to add sum is equal to num1 plus num2, and later there is a keyword called return sum. Okay, this is the end of the function. Here print this program demonstrates fruitful function. Alright, okay, I'll tell the user to enter two integers, like say first n1 is equal to, okay, int input enter first integer and then this one is n1 and this I'll say n2 is equal to, okay, the same thing I'll copy and paste, and this is n2, enter second integer, and now I'll call the function called addition. Here s is equal to, okay, addition of n1 comma n2, and later print sum of %d and %d is %d. Okay, so here percent, inside that the arguments what are, first one is n1 comma n2 comma s. Okay, so let's see how does this program execute. So remember one thing, the program execution starts with this later it will ask for 2 integers. Okay, and one more thing here is I have closed only one bracket, second has to be closed, and here also the same thing, right? So ask for 2 integers. Once 2 integers are read, the function addition will be called by supplying n1 and n2, and here n1 will be mapped to num1, n2 will be mapped to num2, and some variable will be created where its value will be n1 plus n2, and that value will be returned, and this return value will be assigned to variable s. Okay, and that variable we are going to say print inside this statement. Let's see how to execute this. So very simple, this is the name of the function program. We'll use Python 3 interpreter to execute this. Okay, entire integer, one is 24, the second one is, say for example, 45. Okay, sum of 24 and 45 is 69. So now in this function we have supplied 2 arguments which are input to the function, and it returned a sum which is a return value, means something like output of this function.